Good morning. Continuing in Jesus' words about false teachers, let's look at Matthew 7, verse 18. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a diseased tree bear good fruit. So we mentioned kind of working our way back that you look at the teaching, and if it's false, you go back, and your chances are you're going to find something that's got an immoral, unethical root, right? But you go the other way. An unethical heart, an immoral heart is always going to give birth to teaching that one way or another is going to be lead people astray and will hurt people. And that's what I want you to think about this morning. False teaching is not just about bad ideas. It's not just about bad doctrine. It's not just about bad principles even, or bad dogma. What's the problem is that false teaching actually really does harm. I remember years ago, some dear friends who had a daughter, an adult daughter, son-in-law family, and that daughter got involved in a cult, and it began to siphon her away from her godly, Christ-loving, lovely, church-honoring parents, and sucked her away and isolated her into a performance law-based mentality that was its own, literally its own cult. The false teaching had come into the church at large, across the nation, and had begun to siphon people off. And this leader ended up forming her, it was a woman, her own cult, and she pulled this woman and her family in to that cultish dynamic, cutting off her family and inflicting intense amounts of harm. Listen to 2 Peter 2, verse 3. And in their greed, talking about false teachers or false prophets, they will exploit you with false words. False words exploit you. They put you at risk, potential for harm. Their condemnation from long ago is not idle, and their destruction is not asleep. A few verses later in that same chapter, verse 18, for speaking loud boasts of folly, they entice by sensual passions of the flesh those who are barely escaping from those who live in error. They promise them freedom, but they themselves are slaves of corruption. For whatever overcomes a person, to that he's enslaved. They say, we're going to liberate you, but they only enslave you. Right? This is kind of actually what progressive Christianity does. Progressive Christianity ends up taking you, and all of a sudden it's going to free you to this wide open world of the existential self, but all it does is end up enslaving you, right? It enslaves you. So we want to be on guard against false teaching because it seriously inflicts harm. That's why ideas matter, because ideas are connected to the root of those ideas, which are the teachers themselves. May the Lord bless you today.